right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Arachakwadash. Double honors to the true apostles of the great millstone who rule well and teach well. It's Brother Yahushai Zion. Just doing this really quick video. I wanted to go into this Zionist movement joint that I was doing earlier. That I got interrupted or whatever. But
in 100 years since the British government issued.
All right, so ultimately, man, this is one of the most suspicious things nobody's talking about. All right, and the reason being is because they are a fraud. All right, when you go and look up all of this stuff, man, it's real fishy stuff, man. And I'm going to go into it, okay, because they're absolutely not the true Jews and the Israelites of the Bible, okay? This is all a conspiracy. It's not biblical prophecy for them to return in this manner. And the reason why there's so much infighting over there in the state of Israel, okay, which you can't become a citizen of Israel, okay? This is a bloodline and a heritage by tribe, okay? And if you're not part of the tribes, you're not going to be a Jew. You can't be an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. And they definitely don't talk about no tribe of Ephraim. They could care less. Okay? All of the customs of the past are gone. They don't deal with that. And we're going to get into it. Listen to this here, okay? This is fair use. I'm not making money on this. I'm just going to replay this video. Okay? So I don't care if the people copyright it or whatever.
The Balfour Declaration, a document that would later become a cornerstone for the creation of the State of Israel. But why is Britain celebrating its colonial legacy while glossing over the 100 years of conflict that followed? Let's go back to November 2nd, 1917, when British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour sent a letter to Lord Walter Rothschild, a leader in the British Zionist Federation. Balfour's letter expressed sympathy for Jewish Zionist aspirations at the heart of Zionism, a political ideology calling for Jews to return to Palestine. The Balfour Declaration said the UK would use their best endeavors to facilitate the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. So on that date, Zionism became an official objective of Britain's foreign policy. But the British had no legal authority to establish a home or a state for anyone in lands that they didn't own, a land where 92% of the local population were Muslims and Christians who were never consulted. And even though they didn't own the land, the British would soon control it. The lines on the map were in flux. That's because, well, World War I was going on and British Allied troops were advancing on Palestine. Just a few weeks after the Balfour Declaration was issued, British General Edmund Allenby conquered Jerusalem. The British Prime Minister at the time, David Lloyd George, called its capture a Christmas present for the British people. During the war, the UK made a number of promises that it wouldn't keep. One was to the Sharif of Mecca, Hussein bin Ali. He's the great-great-grandfather of Jordan's King Abdullah II. Britain promised their support for a single, independent, and unified Arab state. And in return, he agreed to be part of a revolt against the Ottoman Caliphate. A second commitment was made to France under a secret agreement between colonial powers to divide up the Middle East between them. Under the Sykes-Picot Agreement, Palestine would be an international zone.
You see that? So you know, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? What's really going on here? You know, basically, man, these people are a bunch of frauds, you know, because one, like I said, it doesn't line up with the scripture where the Lord was going to place the Israelites of all the 12 tribes back into the land himself. This is not the embodiment of the kingdom of heaven, okay, on the earth. Clearly, that's why there's infighting. There's a death toll over there. Revelation 21 talks about that there's going to be no more death. Is that what's going on? We know that's not what's going on, okay? Bunch of frauds and phonies. Now let's keep listening into this.
But the agreement wasn't honored later on. Britain wanted Palestine for itself. Then came the third commitment to the British Zionist Federation. Now this is the one that the British actually honored. Its ambiguous language created problems, but it was a deliberate choice to use the word home rather than state in the declaration. Each of the 5 official drafts of the declaration were carefully reviewed by the Foreign Office.
You see that? They were reviewed. It was an application, basically, pretty much. And then they responded. And I'm going to go over the Balfour Declaration real quick. All right? Let's go into it. Let's go and get it and read it out. It says, Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you on behalf of His Majesty's government the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionists, or Zionist, aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the cabinet. Okay, so not the Lord. The Lord didn't approve it. The cabinet did. That's not in the scriptures. It says, His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. Remember, ish means pertaining to or like. They're not really Jews. He didn't say Israelites. They said Jewish people. Okay? And words matter. Okay? So it says, and if something's yellowish, it's not yellow, it's yellowish. It's almost kind of yellow, but it's not. And will you, let me continue on in the middle paragraph. It says, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. Notice how they don't talk about none of the other Israelites. They just so happen to still know where the Jews are, but they don't know where the other Israelites are. Don't you find that funny? And the scriptures talk about that there's 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Does anybody care about that, man? What about the so-called Christians? Do they care about that? Do they care at all that there's Israelites that are in the Bible? They're talked about in James 1 and 1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. But that doesn't matter. Nobody cares about it. Nobody bats an eyelash. No one speaks about it. Shh, don't say nothing about it. It doesn't matter, It doesn't matter. Yeah, no, it does matter. Okay? That's why we're sighing and crying, man. And we'll get to the scriptures in a minute in Hosea. All right. So it says, or the rights of the political, the Jews in any other country. It says, I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation. And then I took a look at the Zionist Federation. It says the Zionist Federation is a national umbrella organization that represents the Zionist movement, which that's nowhere in the scriptures, bear in mind, not at all, within a specific country, such as Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Ireland. So that's where those people are from. That's a bunch of British people in Ireland, Edomites. Okay, those were the Edomites in Ireland and in Britain, posing as Jews. So this is all a setup approved by a cabinet. It says, or the Zionist Organization of America, ZOA, which functions as a territorial Zionist federation. These federations serve as a forum for discussing strategy and programming, administering elections for the World Zionist Organization, and promoting Zionism's goals, including the self-determination of the Jewish people in their homeland of Israel, which is not their homeland. They were placed there. How's it your homeland when you were placed over there? The Jews were scattered, okay? The Israelites were scattered across the four corners of the earth. So if they were scattered, guess what that means? Those people are not the Jews, man. It's all a fraud. It's all a damn fraud, man. Pure lies. So this is what, let me go back to the video.
The Zionist project in Palestine was one way for the British government to resolve the problem of growing anti-Semitism in Europe.
But listen, they don't even know who a Semite is. Who comes from the line of Shem? Anti-Semitism is another word that has been basically brought to the attention to try to defend these people, to make it a racial derogatory, okay? A derogatory term that is basically outlawed. But what they don't realize is that many nations came from Shem, okay? And the so-called black man came from Shem, so-called Hispanic, Native American, Latino. So none of us can be anti-Semites because we're Israelites from the line of Shem, and we're claiming that. So it's not anti-Semitism to tell you you're a fake-ass Jew. You're not really a Jewish person, or you are Jewish, but you're not You're not a Jew. You're not from the tribe of Judah. You're really an Edomite. Jewish, meaning you wish your ass wish you was. You wish you was, okay?
It would also protect Britain's interests throughout the region. After the war, the 5 colonial powers at the time.
You see that? It protects British interests throughout the region. See, Great Britain has a lot more influence than you people realize, man. All right, they got a lot more influence than you realize. And they were trying to sit there and talk about this Holocaust bullshit. That's another lie. Because guess what? Hosea 1:10 says, because they tried to number how many Jews were there, right? They said 6 million, this and that, and the Holocaust and the number that were moved. That's bullshit. Look at this. Hosea 1:10. I believe the scriptures. It says, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. Okay, so remember, they were scattered all around the 4 corners of the earth, and predominantly where they told that you're not the people of God. Over here in America, and over there in Britain, they're like, you guys aren't the Jews. These guys are the Jews with these yarmulkes on. Where's the yarmulke in the scriptures? It's nowhere in the scriptures. You're not supposed to pray, with your head covered as well. That's in 1 Corinthians. There's no such thing as Judeo-Christian values. All right? Judeo has nothing to do with anything. Jew is just the tribe of Judah. It's Israelites. That's it. You're either from the nation of Israel or you're not. You're from one of the 12 tribes of Israel or you're not. And that's it. There's no Judeo anything. And that fake-ass dude, Benjamin Netanyahu, not a Jew, that guy who was a Bibi Netanyahu, that devil, a shaved-faced devil at that, claims that, Charlie Kirk thing, he's speaking about that. That guy's got something to do with that, man. Because he tried to invite him over, and the dude declined, and then a couple days later, he got shot and killed. So what does that tell you? They got professionals, man. These people, you dealing with professional hitmen. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So they probably took dude out because he was blowing the lid and he had a lot of influence. He was talking about too many controversial things, man, and got smoked because he figured out, wait a minute, these people are wicked, man. If they're really the righteous in the Bible, then why are they so goddamn wicked? That's because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And these people are not the people of the Bible, all right? That's why you can't number them. You can't name their number, and you can't put them. Just listen in to, because they try to tell you the number of them that left out. It's bullshit. Listen.
The UK, France, Italy, the US, and Japan gave Britain a mandate for Palestine. The British government and the Zionist movement made sure it included the wording of the Balfour Declaration. It then became international law, and the Balfour Declaration became a legal obligation for Britain.
Now, international law, who's responsible for international law? Who's the one running things? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That has nothing to do with the Israelites. They didn't pass any motions. We don't have any goddamn cabinets. We don't have any structure and order of, a council. Okay, back when King David was on the earth, yeah, man, we had order. When Solomon was here, we had order. We actually had an army and a military. You know what I mean? We were an official nation, really established nation, should I say, within our borders. But then obviously, the things after Solomon's passing, and the division of the kingdom and the diaspora, as it is written in the scriptures. Okay, you've been scattered amongst all nations and be few in number amongst these nations. So clearly we're not running things. So the international law, that's all folly and madness, man. The real Israelites are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans all across the earth. All right, but primarily in North and South America.
The British Mandate of Palestine would last for 30 years, a land that was called Palestine by Europeans, Palestine by Arabs, and Eretz Israel, or Land of Israel, in Hebrew. There's a part of the Balfour Declaration that's often forgotten. It backs the idea of a Jewish home, provided that nothing would be done to harm the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. In fact, in 1917, only 8% of the population of Palestine were Jewish. For much of the 1920s and 30s, the British facilitated Jewish immigration to Palestine, automatically granting each newly arrived Jewish immigrant with a Palestinian passport. And as the demographics changed, resentment grew between the Jewish and Arab communities of Palestine.
All right, hold on a second. Let's hold the phone here, man. Let's take a look at something real quick. Jewish etymology. What's the etymology of the word Jewish? 1540s. So this is when it started actually being spoke about. It says Old English, which the Lord and his people are not English. All right. It says had ideas. It says early Middle English used Jewish. You wish. Similar, it says formation in Dutch. Jukes, or whatever in German. Okay, Danish formative. So it says noun, Jew. The real thing is Jew. It says ancient or modern. What's the difference between ancient and modern is that they left black, so-called black men, and then they came back as white men. So all lies, so-called white men. One of the Jewish race or religion. No, that's not true. You're an Israelite from the tribe. You're a tribal from the tribe of Judah. That's bullshit. This is from Latin. It's not from Latin. It's from Hebrew. Semitic, it says Yehuda. Really is Yahawada. That's what it's supposed to be. Yahawada, because there's no Yehu, nothing. Jehudai, no. Yehuda, there's none of that. There's no U sound in Hebrew. It's Yahawada, okay? Yahawada. Thanks of the Lord, okay? Yahweh Thawada. That's the name of Judah. Yahawada. It says literally celebrated name of Jacob's fourth son, and the tribe descended from him. Yeah, and those people are not that. Again, it says spelling with J predominated from 16th century. Replaced Old English Eudis, the Jews, says, which is from Latin as an offensive and opprobrious term, quote, person who seeks gain by sordid means. Harp, simple mouth, harp, early Jews. I don't know why they got Trump, 1540s. The connection is with Jewishness is obscure unless it is somehow biblical. In uneducated times, inexplicable ancient artifacts were accredited to Jews based on the biblical chronology of history, such as Jews as money, 1570s. Roman coins found in England and Greece after Christianity had erased the memory of the classical glory. Ruins of pagan temples were called Jews' castles. And in Cornwall, Jews' houses was the name for the remains of ancient tin smelting works. See, but if you go to the hieroglyphics you'll see that the Jews being carried away captive and in slavery were Israelites that were dark-skinned black men with cornrows. And you could clearly see that, you know. But yet these people try to pretend as if, that's not true. And it is true. Now, how come most people are white now all of a sudden? And what's up with this Balfour Declaration? What's going on? See? But nobody cares about it, man. The Christians don't care about it. They got their own false religion and a false narrative being played out.
And towards their occupiers, the British. When Britain decided to leave in May of 1948, the Zionist paramilitary army was ready with a plan to colonize all of historic Palestine. We're talking about a large-scale ethnic cleansing. More than 700,000 local Palestinians were kicked out of their ancestral homes. Hundreds of Arab villages were razed to the ground, and 15,000 Palestinians were killed that year in several massacres. All this happened while tens of thousands of British soldiers were still in Palestine. Zionists declared their own state on May 14, 1948, and began the process of wiping the word Palestine off the map and deleting it from the historic record. And that continues to this day. 12 million descendants of those indigenous Palestinians refer to Israel's violent birth as al-Nakba, or the catastrophe. And every year when Israelis celebrate their state, Palestinians mark the systematic destruction of their society. So, British
because they both not supposed to be there. All right.
celebrations of the Balfour Declaration are as problematic as the declaration itself. The British government is proud of its colonial legacy, even though it opened Pandora's box, putting in motion events that would lead to future wars between its allies. And while celebrating this British declaration,
Yeah, because these people are not the Jews. Look at them. These guys are Israelites. Out of your mind, man. This is God's chosen people right there. You're out of your mind, man.
Israel cannot escape its own colonial past, which continues to the present. Palestinians and Arabs call the Balfour Declaration one of the most shameful documents ever created by a colonial power. They're demanding that Britain apologize for it, not celebrate it.
Yeah, because that's all a fraud, man. You see? Because they try to number the children of Israel too, to tell you, basically blowing smoke up your ass, lying to you, saying that there was some type of Holocaust and, they had to find a home of their own because of persecution. That's a lie. This is a conspiracy to keep the real Israelites away from there and really deceive the entire world, because the ones in power over there at the time were the people in Britain. Okay, Great Britain was in power at that time, around the 1500s. Okay, and they had slaves too. So here you are in slavery, while these people are being granted, and really later on, being granted the rights to your land, while you're just recovering from 300 years of slavery, so you don't know who you are anymore. As Israelites, so-called black man, Hispanic, Native American, Latino, you don't know who you are no more. And then once that Balfour Declaration got signed and they put them fake-ass people up in there who they were counting, because you can't count the tribe of Judah, that's for sure. That's the sand of the sea. There's too many. And they look like all different types. But anyway, in 1916, that's when they did that, or 1948, that's when they did the Balfour Declaration. And that Zionist Federation was really ultimately behind it. And the Rothschilds, okay, which are the real people who finance the world. They got money. And money runs the world, okay, over here in this carnal world. Don't think it doesn't. You got deep enough pockets, man. People gonna do whatever you say. All right? Trust me. That's life. But so we know that this is not the children of Israel, man. All right? And only a remnant's going to be saved. Like it says in Romans 9:27, it says, Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. Okay? So not all the tribe of Judah is going to go over there right now. All right? 2/3 of the nation of Israel is going to be destroyed. And we're talking about all the tribes. Okay? So this is funny. This is quite funny, the Balfour Declaration. Bunch of bullshit. Fake ass term for Jews. All of that, man. Zionist federations. Look at this fake Holocaust over here, 1933 to 1945. This is all made up. It says the Holocaust was systematic state-sponsored persecution of MURDER of 6 million Jews by this Nazi regime. How could you even? They weren't even that many living over there. And again, you can't number the children of Israel. You can't. They're on the sand of the sea. How are you going to number them? It's another fraud, another lie. More lies being told. Watch out now. All right. So ultimately, man, that's what we just got to shed light on this, man. That's all I'm really going to say about that, man. On to the next one. All right. Lord willing, this was edifying, okay? I'm going to